Beat Agent is a full beat production instrument with all the tools and sounds to create amazing beats for any electronic or urban music genre. 100 amazing sounding kits are included, alongside all the advanced features that you need to edit the existing kits or to create your own. Beat Agent also excels in manipulating samples and loops with features like automatic loop slicing, one-click drum hit replacement, an onboard effects rack, and more. Now, if we place the pad area into instrument mode and select the Edit tab, you can see the waveform for the sample assigned to that pad. Now, when there are multiple samples assigned to a pad, you have the option to edit all of the samples on the pad at once or edit just the selected samples. You can also choose between relative editing and absolute editing depending on what you're trying to accomplish. Look at the different volume settings for each of these samples. If you want to make them all louder without affecting the mix between them, use relative mode. Now, when you increase the volume for one sample, all of the other selected samples increase by the same amount, but they still have different volumes relative to one another. By comparison, if you want to set everything to the same value, switch to absolute mode. Now, when you change one sample, all the other selected samples jump to that same absolute value. The Main tab gives you access to the sample mapping and parameters like volume, pan, and cutoff. You can also see a simplified sample editor. You can adjust the sample start and end markers, as well as fade in and fade out markers, and fade curves in this display. You can assign up to 8 samples to one pad. The trigger mode determines how multiple samples are played on that pad. In velocity mode, the incoming velocity determines which sample is played. The high and low velocity ranges are displayed here in the upper right corner, and these set the high and low limits of velocity which will trigger this sample. In layer mode, all samples are played back at the same time regardless of the velocity. And in round-robin mode, the samples are played repeatedly one after another from left to right. In random mode, samples are played randomly, and repetitions can occur. In random exclusive mode, the samples are played randomly, but repetitions are not allowed. Poly sets the maximum polyphony of a pad. For example, if you set this to 4, you can trigger 4 sounds before notes are stolen. Fade allows you to set the time it takes for a voice to fade out when voices are stolen. Exclusive group allows you to assign a pad to one of 32 exclusive groups, and pads within a group are never played back simultaneously. When a new note is played, the previous note stops. Now, careful use of exclusive groupings can help lend additional realism to instruments like the hi-hat, where open and closed would never be heard together in the real world. Below the sample editor are basic controls for the volume, pan, and pitch of each sample. And when enabled, additional controls for filter and saturation are available. You also have the option of replacing any sample you want to, even while the groove is playing. Simply select the sample or pad that you want to replace. Then navigate back to the Load tab and select Browser. Then you navigate to the desired sample or filter your sound library for names, instrument tags, and so forth. And if you click on the magnifier, all subfolders will be filtered for your search. Now you can browse through the list with the up and down keys on your keyboard, and by pressing Enter or by double-clicking, the sample will be loaded into the selected pad. If Replace Focused Sample is enabled in the lower right corner, only the selected sample will be replaced, and all the settings like pitch and volume will be kept. If this option is disabled, then the whole pad will be reset and loaded with the new sample. The Slice page offers a sophisticated slicing capability. Drag and drop an audio loop that you want to slice. Open the Slices tab and click Create Slices. Groove Agent 4 also has the revolutionary new ability to classify drum slices. And what this allows Groove Agent to do is automatically assign each slice to one of the 5 basic classes based on which class it comes closest to. Classify and the name of the class and its predefined color are displayed in the classifier section in the lower part of the waveform display. These colors and class names are transferred to the instrument pads automatically. If you place the pad section into pattern mode and open the Pattern tab, the editor lets you create and edit MIDI drum patterns directly. The editor is subdivided into several sections. The title bar shows the name of the current pad at the top. There's the toolbar below the title bar, the drum sound list on the left, and the event display on the right where the actual drum notes are shown. And there's a controller lane at the bottom. Use the selection tool to select drum notes, and use the drumstick tool to draw in individual notes. And to remove a note, click on it again, or use the erase tool. You can use the line tool to enter a line of drum notes or controller values. The pattern editor in Groove Agent can also display the note length of MIDI events. This is useful when you're working with samples that are played until release. To edit an existing pattern, select the corresponding pad and open the pattern editor. Then make any changes you need. The controller lane below the event display displays MIDI controller events for the selected drum sound, and you can show one MIDI controller at a time. To switch to another controller, click the name of the active controller and select another one from the list. Now to draw in controller events for the notes of the selected drum sound, move the mouse pointer over the controller lane so that it turns into a draw tool, then click and drag. You can also record directly into the pattern editor with a MIDI pad or keyboard. To discover even more capabilities, download Groove Agent 4 today, the ultimate drum studio.